Okay, we're back on. We're back on. Okay. Well, it's a nice river. Okay. So this is the second video on the one we started, and if you watch that video, we talked about inner voice. So I did a video a couple days ago, posted it, and got me thinking, right? So, and this is basically, this second video is about, it's gonna be a supplement to the inner voice. It made me think that you guys, I'm gonna call you my internet child, because this whole channel is basically for you guys, the young guys, the young girls who are in the internet and looking for some, I don't know, you can call it guidance, some advice, right, from a stranger, an older stranger. Hopefully, no judgment, just basically sharing my insights of being here for 53 years. You might be 16 years old. I like the 16 years old. 20 years old, 40, or even same age as me, as 50 and feeling lost. Maybe, if after listening to this, someone, it'll click. I hope I'm not that far from the camera, but I don't want to lose this background, right? And I hope the mic is picking up the nice calming water. So the first video was about the inner voice, and I realized I should add something to that in terms of, because looking back in my 20s, even though I mentioned that I hear that inner voice, I was not sure. I was not sure what that inner voice was, or I even listened to that inner voice. But I knew back then it was there, right? I realized that most of you, my internet child, would be in a situation where you don't know that inner voice, or you could be actually angry with that inner voice. So I advise to listen to that inner voice, but I also realized after posting that and doing more thinking, and I do a lot of deep thinking. This is the second video, but you will realize that, internet dad does a lot of deep thinking, and I do. And I hope that you realize this is not a channel that it's for dad helping you out how to fix stuff. but more of having insights of the deeper things in life, right? And I don't want it to be serious in a sense, but I also want it to be something coming from the heart. And that's what I'm going to be promising in this channel. I might be in future videos maybe talking lightly of, little things or bigger things, but I want to keep it in a way that it's positive, because at the end of the day, right, that's all we have. This thing that is given to us, life, this journey, right, it's what you make it. Make it in, you might have a springboard for having, born with a, they call silver spoon, or everything's given to you, and here you are not appreciating it and being angry for no reason, or there's a reason but you don't know, right? And that's why we talk about the inner voice. So going back to the inner voice, I realized, like I said, that there might be people out there that might be asking when they watch that first video, saying that, yeah, I listen to my inner voice and my inner voice is angry, right? My inner voice is lost, is hurt. So it might be hard. I realize after making that, it might be hard to listen to that voice. And that's why you're maybe listening to this and maybe having a second person, right? So I will just base it on what my experience, and hopefully it'll work for most of you. But what I would want you to take out of that is give it a chance. Give it a chance to contemplate and, discuss it with your inner voice. I like using it, right? It sounds corny, but it's also humans' greatest fear. Believe it or not, and I believe this, okay? Let me explain a little bit. When we get hurt, traumatized, abused, whether it's verbal, physical, or even just feeling abused because we have that intense feeling of lack, right? We try to run away from it, right? And that's normal. It's like survival mode, right? And they talk about in cortisol, survival mode, stress, right? Internet likes to use the word the tiger, right? We always run away from the tiger, and we have this, your body tenses and everything else, right? But at this day and age, right, we don't have tigers chasing us. We're not living in the forest, although it's nice, right? It's nice to be in nature, right? But I'll delve into that more later on. So we tend to run from it. Psychologically, we run from our trauma. And trauma is something that we hold on, unfortunately, right? We hold on. We hold on into here and here. In fact, there's our physical traits or actions that we see from our fellow holding into trauma. And the way we cope with the trauma is basically the number one thing that we don't do is ignore it. When I say ignore it, is basically not face it, right? That's why we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists that we go to, and they basically tell us face that, right? So it's hard. It's hard, especially if the trauma at an early childhood, and now I'm getting into it, comes from people that were supposed to protect you. Whether it was your parents, your father, your mother, your grandparents, or anybody who's supposed to take care of this young child. So, like I said, could be physical abuse, verbal abuse, or even abandonment, that they were never there. That's trauma still. And we have to face it. This is what I wanted to, And how do we face it? I mentioned about the inner voice, right? Part of it, that inner child, that inner voice, the way it protects itself is basically hide. When I say hide, we don't want to deal with it. That's why sometimes I myself, when I was young, right, people would ask, are you okay? Are you stuff like that? Or is there's anything bothering you? And deep down inside, we know. But at that time, we don't want to deal with it, right? Or maybe that particular person, and there's a big bee hovering around the camera. Oh, anyway, got distracted. So that's what I want to talk today, right? The first video was inner voice. Listen to your inner voice. Realizing that some of my children in the internet would say to me, and say, well, it's not easy to listen to that voice when that voice is angry. It's not easy to listen to that voice when that voice is lost. That's why I'm reaching out to this and seeing this video is maybe, I know, child, it's hard. But one thing I would promise with you, if you stay with me in this channel, we'll work with it. You can post a comment. I'm gonna put an email link, so if you don't want other people watching to see, but I will try my best to basically work with you guys one-on-one. Because I wish when I was that lost, because there was a time, there are several times actually, that I wished, right? And to tell you frankly, and this is one history, that several times I did call a suicide number. And I don't know the persons because it's been several times, but I just wanted someone to listen. I wanted someone to cry to, right? With no judgment. And I remember this one young lady, and I knew at that time she was probably my age or even younger. And I was already a father then, but I was lost. I tell you, right? And as you know me better, you'll know that I'm not this is not coming from BS. This is not AI shit that people grab into and basically patch together to get views. No, this is coming from the heart, and it will strike a lot of chord. It will open a lot of trauma, and a lot of you listening to this would probably turn it off if you don't want to deal with it. That's fine, but you can always come back. That's the beauty of this, right? You can turn it off if you don't agree, look for another channel or whatnot, whatever, right? But there will be children on the internet that will resonate to what I'm saying, and hopefully, I just hope that down the future, a simple comment or something, an email or a note or a post saying that I did help you, and that to me is the satisfaction. That is the satisfaction. But okay, so going back to, I'm a little bit going off track here. Going back to what I was saying, right? The inner voice, listen to your inner voice. But how, I ask myself, like, how could this young people that are listening to me listen to that inner voice when they are so hurt and they can't forgive themselves. Let me look at this verse. Okay, so hopefully it's still device over. Okay. Okay, let's just look on this verse. Okay, hold on. Sorry. I don't know, it's saying something here, but okay, it's still recording. That's good. Okay, so sorry guys, my action camera is just turned off and it says it's overheating, but it's still recording. So if you don't see me, or maybe just the screen, it's automatically, old guy learning how to use tech. Okay, going back. So mentioning about in listening to your inner voice, and then realizing that a lot of young people it'll be hard, right? So here's one solution, and you can take it, you can think about it, throw it away, whatever, right? So it's just my opinion, and this might take years for you to basically do, right? So one thing, and you've heard this before, and I'm honest, you've heard this before. Way before the internet, I don't know the author, but I've seen the video and I've also read it, but it on top of my head, maybe I could find it and maybe put it in the comments, right? There are 4 things that you need to do to initiate this, right? It's about forgiveness. Okay? We're coming. There are 4 things that you need to give forgiveness. Your forgiveness. You're doing this, first of all, you're not doing this for anybody, but you're doing this for yourself. There is an old fable, it's an Asian fable, I think it's Chinese, that about a young man and his backpack and an old man talking to him about this, right? So every time he's got trauma, or hurt or pain or being betrayed, he picks up a stone and puts it in a backpack. So you know what's going on, right? So basically, through the years, as he's walking, he's picking out this, and this walk is, let's say it's the life, right? And he keeps it. He keeps it. He keeps that anger. He keeps that pain. He keeps that feeling of hurt. And it gets heavier and heavier. And the old man said, this is what you need to do. So basically, moral story, he let go. And this thing that I was telling you, the 4 things that you need to do to forgive, these 4 things, is part of that. In fact, it is, in essence, what it is. So, for you to listen to your voice, you need to do this first. But I want you to understand that I made that video to get you into that direction, that the only person that's not going to fail you is yourself. And also, the only person who's going to fail you is yourself. So you have to work on that. But for you to work on that, you have to have a clean slate. Clear the table. Make the foundations. Now, there are a few of us who are blessed that they have loving parents, they have good nurturing, and they see it. Because there was also guidance, and they take that guidance. But most of us don't. I could probably say more than 90% or 95% don't. You could have good parents, but you didn't get it. It didn't register you until they're gone and stuff. Like so. Yeah. So going back to that. So here it is. The 4 things you need to do in order to start the healing, to start waking up, to start opening and to start realizing, right? Are these. Number 1, forgive your parents. Parents, whoever took care of you. For those people saying, well, I never saw my parents. That's why I'm saying this. Anybody that played the role, whether it was your grandfather, your grandmother, your adopted parents, or or even the parents that are absent. The number 1 thing I'm asking you, which is number 1, is forgive your parents. Okay, guys, sorry. The Action 5 overheated. A lot of people saying this happens to this Action 5. So, where were we? Okay. So the 14, the things that you need to do. Let me get back on track here. I gotta apologize. This is the second video, but at the same time, I don't run with a script. Right? I have an idea of what I'm wanting to say, but at the same time, I want to make it very heartful or raw and coming from the heart. I'd rather, shoot from the hip, and yeah. But so going back, let me get back to this. First video I mentioned about inner voice, then realizing that it's hard to listen to the inner voice if that inner voice is lost in trauma, lost in hate, lost in pain, you know. So we need to go back. We need to go back to that. In order to do that, we need to do from us a hard thing. When I say a hard thing, it's a hard thing to do. And that's basically forgiveness, right? So, first thing you need to do, and this is important, and you can't move forward without this, and you can't go around it, is to forgive your parents. Forgive them for what they have done, for what they have not done, for what they have not provided, or for not being there. Like you, like me, like everybody else, most of us, we don't know what we're doing. 100%, right? 100%. Most of the time, we think we do, but honestly, we don't. There's nobody who really knows 100% what they're doing. And even if you think, and in good conscience, you're doing what's best for your child, it might not resonate. So it doesn't really matter, right? There are people there with amazing parents, amazing providers, but how come the child turns to something, or grows up, you can't just say it's the parents. Society has a big part of it. Friends have a big part of it. Even your outlook has a big part of it, right? You could be given everything. Your toilet seat could be made of gold and you still be miserable. So that's not the case. It all ends up to you. And that's to get to you is people that are very close in your circle. If they have wronged you, we start with the people who gave you life, who brought you out into this world. It's two people. If they weren't there, forgive them. If you were adopted, given away, or abandoned, and you never met them, forgive them. You are not doing it for them, and you're not doing it because your religion says so, or this random Asian guy in the internet telling you to forgive them, and you're just going to follow. No. I'm showing you, I'm telling you by experience that you have to do it in order to move forward. I bet you at this stage now, this video, a lot of you probably sobbing and saying, yeah, the guy's right. Yeah, because you know what? The first time I've heard about it and I really intently listened to it and have it come to me, I realized, and I was sobbing, right? My parents, even though they're loving, I felt there were some shortcomings, and I'll get into that more in other videos. And I resented it, right? Forgive them. Most of us, we try our best, or what we think is best. So, forgive us, forgive them for you to move forward to the next stage. Okay, so remember that, ponder on that, think about that, get back to this video, whatever. So we'll move to the second one, which is forgiving other people from you being young to whatever age you are now, whether you're 80, because you might be older than me, but you're still a child. Yes, we are a child. You won't admit that, but even you, whoever's 80, 90 years old listening to this, when you talk to yourself, and if you ever, you think you're still a child, you might see your body all wrinkled up and stuff, but you remember when you were a child, and you define, because your soul has no timeline. And that's what it is. But for that child who had trauma 70 years ago and never healed, you have to face that. So the second group that you need to forgive are all the other human beings that have wronged you. Whether it's a sibling, whether your ex-wife, whether your best friend, whether your business partner that screwed you, or the president, the prime minister, whoever it is, as long as it's a human being and you think you were wrong, forgive them. And you have to tell yourself that you're doing that not for them, for their soul to be going to heaven or whatever believe you think or your society have teach you. No. You're doing it to get back to the real you. There's no way around it. You can buy the most expensive yacht, most expensive car, be beside the most beautiful woman, surrounded by millions of followers. You could be the most famous actor, Robin Williams. But if you're not healed, and I mention names because I analyze, I look at it, I observe, and that's my opinion, give or take. Everybody's entitled to opinion. I respect your opinion. I'm not gonna go over to my keyboard and fight with you, because whatever path you're going through is your path. To me, this path is sharing the healing that I've gone through and still going, right? So that's the second one. Forgive every human being that you think had wronged you. Because at this moment, when you're thinking about it, they might not be even thinking, oh, I wronged this guy, I wronged this guy, I will, Good if they do, but if they don't ask forgiveness, that's fine. Even you, right? And we're gonna come to that now. Third one, which is the hardest. Believe it or not, it is the hardest. Third one, I believe it is the most important one, is to forgive yourself. Whatever wrong, however grave or however shallow, and it eats you in guilt, forgive yourself. You talk to yourself, and you have to do this. I'm talking. You will see me a lot in this on my series of videos and stuff. That there's a lot of me telling you to talk to yourself. Guess what? Most of the people that I know or have observed or have noticed that are, shall I say, grounded or somewhat knowing what they're doing or closer to knowing what they're doing, or what I say, awake, are the people who are really comfortable talking to themselves. We have this thing in the society, they molded us that if you're talking to yourself, you're cuckoo, right? But it is that person, or that person in front of the mirror, who is solely responsible from the beginning up to the end of who or what or you as an individual is going to be. Whether you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, you're going to be angry. Is that third person you? So how can you heal? How can you move forward if you can't forgive yourself? How can you listen to yourself, your inner voice? How could you listen to that voice if deep down inside you don't like that person? That's the other thing, right? Right now you might not like it, you might have, and this will go to the fourth one. You don't have to like that person, because that person, that third person, you, is a work in progress. Whether you're 90 years old, you're still work in progress. The only thing that's constant is change. All this material stuff that we have, all this man-made stuff, 1,000 years down the road, a new civilization would look at this ancient race, right? Or human, how they live, right? It don't matter. What matter is now. The past don't matter. You can learn from the past, which is what it is, right? That's my outlook. The past, the books, the civilization, the pictures, the letters, scriptures, all of those are here for lessons. Because if we don't learn from the past, how can we move forward? Now, I mentioned about forward. You don't have to worry about the forward. You have to just live now. Do the best you can do now. Be grateful now, right? Yeah, and somewhat prepare. You know, that's important. That's survival. But you don't have to be anxious about life. That's what I'm saying. Okay? So, to be able to listen to that voice, to be able to hear that inner voice, you have to forgive that inner voice. You have to forgive your parents first, because, like it or not, even if you have not met them, they are you. You're 50% of your dad, you're 50% of your mom. And if you don't, you will not heal. Even though, let's say you say, oh, I forgive myself. Okay, or I don't have anything, I no issue myself, but you have an issue. That's like a boat anchor, right? If you want to sail, you want to rise, you won't, because you're tied. And that's why it's important. It's key. And that's why I wanted to supplement the first video, because I realized it's easy to say, listen to the inner voice, when most of us at a certain stage of our life, it's, what inner voice? Where's that inner voice? I don't know that inner voice. I don't talk to that inner voice. I'm afraid of that, talking to that inner voice. Yes, but that is the first step. So when you realize that you have to confront or deal with that inner voice, and then now you're confronting it, the next thing you need to do is forgive that inner voice. And during that time, it's the time also to forgive the other ones that are attached or has a major role on that. So third one, this is the third one. Yeah, that's the third one. Yourself, forgive yourself, right? The fourth one, a lot of people say it's the fourth one, but I say it's like it's a supplement. Forgive the world. When I say forgive, I mentioned already about the human beings, so I'm kind of. We come into this world, our parents, our society, our school, our friends, they mold us to what we think. Square view, right? This view is different from that view to that view to that view. What we think the world has to be. And that's why a lot of people are angry, because they have this outlook of what the world is supposed to be, right? I'll tell you now. I mentioned a speckled sand, right? I'm not saying you sit and not do anything, but I'm also saying not to force it, right? If each and every one of us just work on ourselves, this place we called home, Earth, I guarantee you this. If all of us just work on ourselves and be better human being, treat ourselves as a better human being, it will resonate to the next human being beside you. And all this hate, all these wars, all this pain, all this addiction, and I'm going to talk about that also in the other videos, will disappear. Forgive the world. Change your outlook. You're not here to change it. If you want to change it, and Michael Jackson, and you know what I'm getting into, right? The man in the mirror. A lot has come and have gone saying the same thing. And here is another human being, a random old Asian guy in the Americas telling you it starts with you. Not the world, but you. So, those are the 4 things. It's hard. We're gonna work on it. If you want to reach out, I most welcome that. I want to get a feel of if it resonates or I'm touching a chord, or just be gentle. Don't be too harsh. We don't need to be harsh. If we disagree, that's fine. You can look for another channel or click out of my feed. But let's talk. This is what it's for. Okay? So, that's it. I apologize. I have to stitch this. The Action 5 overheated, but I apologize. That's it for the second video. Till the next one.